The Mopar CB antenna mount kit with coax cable is for anyone with a 2007 to 2018 JK that are looking for a clean way to mount a CB antenna right back here behind your spare tire, and also want a kit that comes with the wire so you can plug it right into your CB radio, tune the antenna, and be ready to rock and roll. This is going to be a 1 out of 3 wrenches for the installation. Very simple to get it installed. Of course, powering your CB radio is a different story, but for this kit here, very easy, and we'll show you how to get it done in just a second. So a CB radio comes in really handy when you're on the trail. You can communicate from one Jeep to the other. Of course, there are some other options out there. I know race radios are becoming more and more popular, but CB radio is the traditional radio for communicating on the trail, or hey, you can even have a little bit of fun with it on the road. If you are looking to mount a CB radio in your Jeep, you're going to need to have an antenna, and there are going to be a few choices for antenna mounts. Some are going to go around the taillight area on past generations, but for a JK, right behind the spare tire here is going to be a really popular location. Keeps the antenna out of the way, and you have all of these bolts that you can use to bolt up the bracket, making it very simple for the install. Not only that, but you also have a grommet here from the factory that allows you to pass the wire from the antenna to the inside of the Jeep very simply, and again, we're going to show you how to do that during the installation. Now, in general, anything that comes out of a Mopar box is going to be a little bit pricier than something that doesn't. So if it doesn't have to say Mopar on it, if it doesn't have to be by Mopar, you can probably save a little bit of money and go with one of the other options on the market. However, if you like to have everything the same brand, this is going to be a really nice choice for you, and at only right around $55, I don't think this is that overpriced. You're getting an aluminum bracket, you are getting not only the connector here for the antenna, but also the wire that's going to plug right into the back of your radio. So it is a very all-inclusive kit, and I don't think that's too bad of a price. So like we said, this is going to be very easy to get it installed on your Jeep, 1 out of 3 wrenches. Let's show you how to do it. For this installation, we used a 13mm socket, a 3/8 extension driven by our 3/8 electric impact. We also used a pair of needle nose pliers and a trim removal tool. The first step in this very easy 1 out of 3 wrench installation is to remove 2 bolts from the factory tire carrier. The tire carrier is not going to go anywhere. There are a bunch of other bolts holding it in place, and these bolts are not going to be used in the installation of our antenna mount, but you can save them, set them aside somewhere in case you ever do remove the antenna mount. That way you still have the factory hardware to put back in. So we'll remove those 2 bolts, then we'll move on to the next step. Now we can get our antenna bracket bolted up, and we're going to be using the hardware that comes in our kit. So we have one of the new longer bolts. We'll slide a lock washer over that, then the flat washer over that. We can put all of that through the first hole in our bracket. Then we have a plastic step washer to go on the back side of that. From there, we can go ahead and get everything started and then torque it down. Do the same thing with our other bolt. Lock washer, flat washer, make sure that plastic washer gets put behind. And we'll get that started into the tailgate as well. Now before we torque these down, this lower bolt hole is slotted a little bit, so that'll allow for some adjustment, because we do want to make sure that this is flat with the ground so that our antenna is vertical. So while we're tightening these down, we're going to check and make sure that everything is sitting exactly how we like it. The last step in the install is getting the wire through the tailgate and into the interior of the Jeep where the radio is going to be, and this grommet is a great way to do that. We're going to remove the grommet completely, but most of you are going to either put a slit in it with a utility knife or maybe drill a hole in it with a drill bit. Either way, you can pass the wire right through that grommet, and that'll keep this hole nice and weather tight for you with the wire still being able to pass through. So the first step is going to be unspooling our wire here, getting it straightened out a little bit. That way it'll make it just a little bit easier for us to fish. Then we'll pull the grommet and get it to the inside of the Jeep. At this point, we're ready to open the tailgate, pop off the plastic trim on the inside so we can get to the other side of where this grommet hole is going to get us and pass our wire through. We're just going to use a trim removal tool to pop this piece of plastic covering off of the inside of the tailgate. Our next step is to pass the wire through the grommet hole on the other side of the tailgate, and it's going to come out through this hole right here that we exposed by removing the plastic trim piece on the inside of the tailgate. Now, this can be done in a variety of different ways. Probably one of the easier ways is to pass a metal coat hanger or a piece of wire from the upper hole to the lower hole, because it's always easier to fish down. And once you have that coat hanger or wire sticking from one hole to the other, you can simply tape on your antenna wire and pull it through. We're going to give it a go the way that the instructions tell you, which is to pass this wire up from the outside to the inside, and once we have it visible in this hole here, just reach in with a pair of needle nose pliers and pull it through. Once you have the end of the wire visible in the hole, you can grab it with a pair of needle nose pliers and pull it through. And then we'll pull all the rest of the slack through to the inside of the tailgate. Now we can replace the plastic trim that goes on the inside of the tailgate. This already has a small cutout on this end where the factory wiring runs through. So if we put our antenna wire right in line with that factory wiring, we can use the same hole. From there, you have a variety of different ways to get the wiring from the back of the Jeep to the front of the Jeep, depending on where you have your CB radio mounted. You can go underneath your carpet, inside of your roll bar padding. You can really run any way that's convenient for you, and that is going to depend on where your radio is mounted. So if you are looking for a CB radio mount that comes with the wiring and has that Mopar name on it, this is going to be a great option for you that you can find right here at extremeterrain.com.